Welcome, welcome, welcome. We have made it. Thursday night football countdown. You are here. I am here answering your questions ahead of week 11. As we start off with another trash game, the Patriots will be likely taking down the Jets. It's going to be in Foxborough, so it's not a whole lot of hope, unfortunately, for the lovely Jets. Did get news today that Garrett Wilson will be out for at least 4 weeks. He was placed on IR. You don't love that. But in this game, it is just a part of it, unfortunately. So I'll be answering questions up until kickoff. If you have them, please ask away, and I will gladly get them answered. But if you don't, I will just sit here awkwardly and let you all enjoy the peace and quiet that you normally don't get in your day-to-day lives. If you're anything like me. I feel like today has been everybody yelling at me for any number of things. So that's just how it's going to be. If you have questions, please ask them, especially if they're dealing with tonight's lovely game. But outside of that, let's see. They gave the Patriots 11.5 with a 43.5 over under. Don't love that. I think that's also a little high. I'm going to double check the line because it might have changed with the Garrett Wilson news of being official and that amount of time being out. It's definitely not the greatest situation to be in. But nope. They have now moved it to 42.5 and a 12.5 point. Golly, that's just massive. A 2-touchdown win for the Patriots. Can't get on board with that, unfortunately. So just another day. I can tell by the lack of people in here that this is just unfortunate. So with that in mind, I'm going to go through all the questions because nobody was paying attention in Fantasy Life app when I said I want to answer the questions ahead of kickoff. So let's see. First one I had is Alton and Schultz. It's going to be Otten for me, and then also Lamar or Drake. I actually have them ranked pretty similarly. I have Drake one spot behind Jackson because I do think Jackson will have to throw. Henry's been struggling. I don't love that as a play for him. Then I had Loveland, Ertz, or Gadsden. Don't love any of that. It's, again, probably going to be Gadsden with the fact that he surprised me and had a full practice. Hey, Will. All right. We're going to answer this for you. Chase Brown, RJ Harvey, or Sean Tucker. Oh, unfortunately, I think it's going to be Brown. Yeah, I have Chase Brown at 10. I have Harvey at, well, where did Harvey go? 27, and Tucker at somewhere. I don't even see him on my list. I know he should be up there. Have him at 25. Sorry. There it goes. Oh, sorry. So it's non-PPR. Okay, that then moves. Oh, that's close. I think Harvey then takes over Brown in a standard scoring. So, what's up, Daniel? Just checking in as always. Okay, Wandale or Shakir. You know it's going to be Wandale. But I understand the question. It's surprising, but it's just going to be my trust in Winston, that offense. Slayton being beat up also hurts things, so there's a lot more upside potential for Wandale. We saw it. The first game without Slayton and without Neighbors, he went for 100, I think either 28 or 48 yards and a touchdown. So that I don't feel like that is out of the realm of possibilities at all for Wandale this week. Trav Wade, what's up? Need help. Malik Washington, Hunter Henry, or Mac Hollins in a full PPR league. The only way I'm playing Malik Washington is if it's in a punt return, kick return league. So, and I like the idea of Matt Collins, but I don't feel like trusting the inconsistency of that. Now, I'm going to go Hunter Henry to be safe. Hooper being out, I think, boosts him up quite a bit. So I'm going to lean Hunter Henry to play it safe there. I don't like playing. Okay, also for Thursday night games, get any players that are playing tonight out of the flex and into a position, whether that's wide receiver, running back, or quarterback. tight end. All that needs to be in an actual position and not in the flex. So you have the flexibility to play somebody else. Abram, Tez, or Hall. It's half. I think I play it safe there and go Hall. I like the upside of Tez, but this matchup for Baker isn't great. Joey Lyman. What's up? Start 2. Joe Flacco, Baker, or Sam Darnold. I have Darnold and Flacco pretty high. I believe them the most. It's just so hard for me to not trust Darnold. Granted, I do have him lower than I expected. He is at 14. And I have Flacco at 10. And Baker is just behind Darnold at 15. So it's all right there. And so I understand the question, but it's also how much you're willing to trust these players. All right, Tamara, Stafford or Purdy? Yeah. Let me double check because I wasn't expecting Purdy to play. It's a Cardinals. It's not a super matchup. I think that game is a little safer. If you're wanting to play him, I'm okay rolling out Purdy, but it's just difficult to get away from Stafford with how well he's been playing. I currently have Stafford at 8. And with the news that Purdy is active, he is the reason Baker is at 15. Is because he moved into the 13 spot for me, just ahead of Jordan Love. So I have them separated by a little bit, but that's also how much I trust in Purdy. I mean, this is a very different team. I would like it more if I thought that they would be challenging. I just think there's a lot more upside for Stafford in the game, which is why I have him rated slightly higher, even though the Seahawks defense is really good. Not taking anything away from him. So Arturo, pick 2, Stephon Diggs, Sutton, DK Metcalf. Woof. Man, I'm probably going to go Diggs and DK. But, yeah, it's mostly me being scared of Knicks and Sutton being so iffy. The idea is a lot of upside there, but I can't trust it. John, pick 2, Ricky Pearsall, Trey Tucker, Tez Johnson, Parker Washington. I have yet to see anything definitive that Pearsall's playing. I saw that Purdy was. I didn't see anything definitively saying that they were expecting Pearsall to play. So with that in mind, I'm going to go Washington and Johnson. If Pearsall were to play, maybe, but I still think Jennings is going to be the one who ends up winning out, just because I would expect them to kind of ease Pearsall back in if he were to play. Tamara, Shaheed, or Jaden Higgins? I'm going to go Jaden. We kind of touched on it last night, but I think there's a lot more potential upside there. So I'm more willing to roll that out. And, yeah, it's all in a very iffy spot. Okay, Scott, percent confidence you think Bucky plays with 2 limited practices? Because they're limited, I'm not super confident. I would put it at 70-30 that he does not play. So, especially because why? I just don't understand why you'd want him to play at this point. With 2, I would understand if he had full practices, but it being limited, I understand the first one was a walkthrough, and today was a more realistic practice, but the fact that it was a limited practice just makes me very nervous to even think about playing him. All right, Trisha, let's see here. Vidal or Sean Tucker? It's going to be Vidal. And then, guessing that's supposed to be Pitt. And I'm going to go Gadsden. The fact that he got the thigh bruise and sat out and then rested until practice, I just can't get away from Gaston, and especially in a game that they're going to need him. He's been a pretty consistent piece of that offense, and so I'm definitely more willing to roll him out there. What else? AW, 2 running back and 2 flex. It's going to be... Okay. It's definitely going to be Chase Brown. All right, let me pull up my rankings. I have Chase Brown in my top 10 at running back. I have Kyron Williams at 13. And so those two are going to be playing. Probably, is it PPR? Yeah, kind of makes me... I would then probably play Javonte and Dunze. So I'd be sitting Henderson. Don't get me wrong, I think he'll be just fine, but I just think there's a lot more upside for those other players. All right, well, flex Pickens or Chase Brown. At that point, I'm going to probably go Chase Brown. Just struggling to trust Pickens in this matchup in particular. I think Lamb is going to be fed. And I do think Pickens will be just fine. It's just more in non-PPR, it makes me always lean to the running back a little more. And the person I think is going to score. So, all right, Daniel. It's Wandale over Franklin. Yep, still Wandale. Yeah, Scott. I know. I mean, realistically, though, Booty was on your waiver wire 2 weeks ago. So I wouldn't be surprised if people forgot that he had a pretty good week and try and roll him out. So I'm not mad at it, but I also, I mean, it is what it is at this point. All right. Sweet. RPSD, Troy Franklin, or pick up Michael Wilson. It's half. If it was full, I still think I'd go Michael Wilson, just because I don't think that they have a whole lot of other options. I wouldn't no, I don't think I could drop Myers for him. We saw it in that first game. We kind of talked about it last night as well, that he was getting a lot of usage and played a lot of snaps, and that was with only knowing a limited amount. So, Daniel, you picked C. Brown. Yeah, I did. I would probably then flex Henderson, and if that was the case, I would switch Henderson into the running back position in case I needed more upside. And then I could switch out Brown for potentially Shakir would be the one I'd chase if I wanted more upside. No problem. Good luck, Scott. Trisha, Walker, DeMarcado, Franklin, or Watson? That's a good one. I think it is going to be... Where's Walker? Oops, why is it popping up? Walker. He's low. DeMarcado. I have that. He's lower. Franklin. It's going to be Franklin. Scott. Yes, I like Pacheco. Or Hunt. I like Hunt even if Pacheco doesn't sit again. But he gets a boost if Hunt's out again. Or if Pacheco's out again, sorry. Flex him or Jacoby Myers. In PPR, it would go to Myers. But right now, with the information I have, I would say Hunt. In any standard or half, I'd go Hunt. Michael, Henry, or Fannin. I have Henry ahead, barely. Mostly because he's beat up, and I'm really trusting of how well, the lack of Hooper is what's really boosting up Henry this week. So, you're welcome, Trisha, sorry. How do you feel about Pitts? I'm fine dropping Pitts. It's another wide receiver that's iffy at best. So I'm not super willing to throw him out there. I'd much rather play. Okay, so currently I have it as, let's see. People I play over Pitts include Trey McBride, Brock Bowers, George Kittle, Oronde Gadsden, Ferguson, Goddard, Laporta, Kelsey, Otten, Schultz, Theo Johnson, Hunter Henry, Mark Andrews, Colston Loveland, and then it's Kyle Pitts. So it's kind of in that area. After Kyle Pitts, you have Zach Ertz and Njoku. So that kind of thing. Not ideal, but it's kind of where we are. Michael Parker Washington or Michael Wilson. The issue for Washington is that BTJ's back, and so I'm kind of curious to see how they end up working that in. I still think I'm firing up Washington this week, mostly because I'm not 100% sold on Wilson being the one. I would expect him to take over that role, but Greg Dortch is also there, so I'd be very curious to see how that's going to break down, or if they just continue to feed McBride. So, and now with Marvin Harrison out, I don't know. And Marvin Harrison and Zay Jones being out, so Scott, thanks. Yeah. Again, it's just when it comes to new offenses or a new quarterback, I always like to lean on the tight end, but it also helped that Juwan Johnson has been playing like over 90% of the snaps. So when you're on the field that much, the opportunities are going to be there. And when they made the switch, I kind of figured they would lean on Johnson a little more, and thankfully they did because he looked very good doing it. Alrighty. Any other questions? For tonight's game, I am taking the under on 42.5. And I'm not willing to touch the spread. I will just say that the Patriots win. So I think the spread is a little bit too much for me to feel confident. But the 42.5, I mean, that would mean that the Patriots put up 31 points roughly, and then the Jets score 10, because that's like the only real way to get there. I guess you could go 28 and 14. It puts you at 42. So 2 touchdowns apiece, and I'm kind of struggling to believe that the Jets are able to score that. Luke, that's a good question. I think when I look at it that way, I end up going with Taylor. So my issue is that likely isn't likely to score. So they've been really looking at Andrews in the red zone and green zone. So unfortunately, he's kind of limited. While Taylor's out there a lot more frequently. My ambitions, what's up? 2 quarterback league, need second quarterback. Fields or Mills? Oh, it's going to be Mills. I know the matchup isn't great for either of them, but it's a lot more difficult for me to trust Fields right now. And the Texans actually have a really good matchup in the Titans. Don't get me wrong, the issue will be if they run too much. That's going to be the one issue. Would I drop Andrews for Otten? PPR, maybe, but with the Godwin news, I'm kind of iffy on it. I don't think anybody's going to be running out to pick up Andrews unless he, again, hits 14-plus fantasy points or he has a massive day, which I also am not expecting. So, hard PSD, need 2. DeMarcado, Pollard, or Singletary. Let me break out the list. That's a ways down there. I have Pollard at 35. DeMarcado's just ahead of him, and Singletary is behind both of them. But they're all clumped together. I'd much rather go pick up Algier if he's available and play him, or Monangai, or yeah, that's probably where I'm at for things that are likely potentially available. If you're super nervous about Rico Dowdle, maybe Chuba Hubbard could be something. But I'm also one of the few people who have a pretty strong belief that Hunt is a top 24 running back this week. So, used to being on the wrong side. What? All right, Scott. Spirit on Booty. Are you saying maybe dump him to move Bucky to active? And yeah, potentially. If that's your best drop, I'm fine doing that. Mostly because what if Kyle Williams looks really good? Does that scare you? Because it should. I mean, we saw him explode last week in one play. Think if they actually sent him more targets in a game where why would you play a majority of your starters? And Kyle Williams comes out and really shows out for you. Just something to think about. But let's see if there's any good sleepers this week. Yeah, that's again not something I ever suggest. I prefer Hero at best. But as a website, we always support best available. Not that that means a whole lot, unfortunately. So it also puts you in a weird spot. For sure. I'd be curious to see if there's not somebody better out there, but unless it's a dynasty league, that might also hurt you. I'm fine rolling out DeMarcado of them. He should be okay. I trust him the most of them to have a decent number that he's putting up. So I would believe that if he actually plays more. That's what's really hurting Luther Burden is the fact that they're not playing him enough. They continue to use other players ahead of him. I still like Kamiri DK against the Texans. They don't have some of their top corners, so that makes things interesting. My love for Wandale is never ending, so he's always going to be an option for me. My ambition. Should I trust Baker Mayfield in his matchup, or should I get Flacco off the wire and start him? Yeah, I mean, I don't think you go wrong, but I do have Flacco as a safer play. The thing for Flacco is that that's a game that is potentially higher scoring. That's why experts have him higher. Is they're looking at the line, which I'll pull it up again because not 100% sure because it might have moved. But the current line for the Bengals-Steelers game is 48.5, with Pittsburgh winning by 5.5 points, which I think is conservative. The last time they played, they put up 80. So I'm still taking the over on that. Meanwhile, the Bucs are playing the Bills, who also have a beat-up secondary, but I'm also nervous that the Bills are going to bear down on them because they just got shellacked by Miami in division, and they need to have a statement game. So it'd be very different if Baker had his full allotment of wide receivers and people to throw to. All right. What's up, Maclaskage? Whatever. Stephon Diggs or Trey Tucker? It's Diggs. And I understand the want to play Trey, but you know who they went to last week? Not Trey Tucker. Not Trey Tucker. That's always going to be the issue for the Raiders is just who's it going to be week in and week out? Because likely Bowers, yep. Could be Jack Besh, but last week they went to Tyler Lockett. guess what? That might be my sleeper for this week, Tyler Lockett. Because him and Geno played together. They have that bond, which people overlooked, which is probably why they went and got him. So I get the need, but if I'm looking at things, I'd probably want to go and play Tyler Lockett, who's widely available. All right, well, Brees Hall, Judkins, or Etienne. It's going to be Hall and Judkins. And then Henry Laporta. Ooh, that's a good one. I think I have him back-to-back, actually. Nope, Laporta is higher still. RPSD, London, Nico, Ibuka, Rice, sit one. Of them, I'm probably going to sit Ibuka. Mostly because I think everybody else could potentially score. The one I'm kind of nervous on is London, but at this point, they have to score. So it's between Ibuka and London. It'd be very interesting to see if how that would work out. I'm fine not playing either of them. It actually might be London just because it's overseas, but it's difficult for me to want to sit London with how well he plays. And I understand Ibuka and that difficult matchup. And like I said, Bills wanted to prove a point. No problem. Good luck. Hall over Judkins or vice versa. No, you only want one. Okay, sorry. I read that as two for some reason. I currently have Hall the highest. It's half. So it goes Hall, Judkins, Etienne in half. And full Hall and Etienne would be right next to each other. So. All right. Well, I think we've done it. If you guys have any more questions, get them answered. Get them asked now, and I'll get them answered. Don't forget, as I keep mentioning, early game, Sunday, 8:30 in Spain, La España. Would you trade away Bijan, Devontae Smith for Adams, Dunte, and Henry? That's a lot. It depends on your team and the league type. If this is any kind of dynasty, no. So, based on that limited information, redraft and a win now situation, sure. Dynasty, no. All right. Well, with that, I hope everybody enjoys this game. I'm not probably gonna watch it. There's other things I want to watch. So hope everybody has a good week. I will be back on Sunday, answer all your questions, and remember, as always, to keep up the nonsense. We will see you all Sunday. Have a good one, guys. Do 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 do. Yeah. Why is that's weird? There it goes. Final.